After a week off, the Eagles are back at Lincoln Financial Field. Got some fresh legs, got some extra sleep, and some extra time to game plan to welcome the 8-1 New England Patriots, who are also coming off of a bye. It will be a tall task at hand, but the fans are ready. The Eagles are ready. Very excited to be back in action. Thanks for joining us on the Kickoff Show, presented by Axalta. Amy Campbell, Fran Duffy, and we're not going to waste one more second. We're going to get you right back to Lincoln Financial Field because the Eagles are warming up right now, and you don't want to miss a single moment of the action. Fran, coming off of a bye, two teams coming off of a bye, a really tough task for the Eagles, but an extra week to do some planning for the Patriots. And Coach Doug Peterson saying, we're a different team than, and they're a different team than when the Eagles won the Super Bowl. A lot to watch in this one today.
Yeah, two very good teams. And this New England team, it's going to be a big test on both sides of the football. Obviously, you've got Tom Brady on the offense, and you have to worry about that. But defensively, they're playing outstanding football right now. They're number one, number two, number three in pretty much every major category that matters on the defensive side of the football. So for that guy right there, number 11, Carson Wentz, it's going to be a big test because they can attack you in a lot of different ways on that Patriots defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, he was watching from the sidelines in that Super Bowl. So this is his first regular season matchup against New England, and one of the best defenses in the NFL as well. Some new faces here on this Eagles team. Some familiar faces, though. Both Jay Ajayi and Jordan Matthews new since the Eagles last took the field. Jay Ajayi joined this team on Friday. He is yet to have a practice with the Eagles this year, but a guy who knows this system very well, and he could make a difference today, Fran.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that obviously knows the playbook. He's been here for the last 2 years. You're not going to have to try and, incorporate him into the offense and try and find any specialty packages or roles for him. He knows what he's got to do in the structure of this offense. And you could say the same thing about Jordan Matthews, a guy who was here just last year. He was here in 2016, so his third tour of duty here in Philadelphia, and a guy that obviously has a good rapport with Carson Wentz. That is not something that can be downplayed in this matchup.
Yeah, he said earlier this week that he just immediately picks up right where he left off with Carson, that the two of them talked throughout the year, so a great friendship between the two of them. And of course, we've seen Carson has some great chemistry with J-Matt on the field as well. Going to be definitely a challenge. Let's talk about Fletcher Cox, because he's going to be key in today's matchup as well, facing Tom Brady, trying to get into his face there.
Yeah, and I think ultimately when you look at this Patriots offensive line going up against this Eagles defensive line, you really like the matchups in favor of the former. I like the Eagles one-on-one against this Patriots offensive line. They've got some injuries. They do hold up fairly well in protection, and Tom Brady is so good at being able to avoid pressure and just get the ball out quickly. He's not obviously a great athlete, but he's got that functional mobility to be able to slide and step and just subtly move inside the boxing ring to avoid contact. So all these guys up front, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, all the rest of that group, they've got to be able to win their one-on-ones and win quickly, try and get pressure on Tom Brady, something I'll break down a little bit later in the show as well.
Yeah, and as we look at the defensive starters for this one, we mentioned some new faces on offense, but the defense just continues to get healthier and healthier as this unit comes together. A lot of guys back, Tim Jernigan again, Jalen Mills again. We're continuing to see this healthy Eagles defense come together.
Yeah, I think ultimately the big thing that we saw last time the Eagles took the field against Chicago was, in their sub package on 3rd and long, when the Eagles would typically play with 6 defensive backs, 3 safeties, and 3 corners, they played with an extra corner on the field. So 4 cornerbacks, Jalen Mills, Ronald Darby, Rasul Douglas, Avonte Maddox, all on the field together. And you saw a lot of press man coverage, guys challenging receivers up at the line of scrimmage. That allowed Jim Schwartz to be a little bit more versatile with what he was calling from a pressure standpoint. So Malcolm Jenkins obviously leading the charge here for this defensive secondary that's healthy for the first time this season.
Yeah, this is getting me fired up here. Of course, there's been a lot of talk about the Super Bowl match, and that's old news, right? That's 2 years ago. But one thing we saw in that game was a lot of offense and a lot of big plays. These two teams, we're going to see a different style of a game today, especially with just the way both of these teams are built, Fran.
Yeah, I think ultimately, like I mentioned earlier, the defense for New England is playing at such a high level right now, and frankly, the Eagles defense is just healthier right now than the Eagles offense. You don't have Alshon Jeffrey, you don't have Jordan Howard, you obviously are out Deshaun Jackson as well. So when you look at this Eagles offense in Week 11 compared to what they were in Week 1, just from a personnel standpoint, there are a lot of changes. So this defense right now is going to have to be able to step up, and that's the mark of a good team. As the offense continues to get back into full health, you need that defense to be able to step up. If the passing game is suffering, the run game needs to step up. If the run game is suffering, the pass game needs to step up. That's all complementary football that, again, is a mark of a good team.
Well, and as we look at the offensive starters for this matchup, the Eagles going to be facing the best Patriots defense possibly that Bill Belichick has ever had there, and statistically the best in the NFL in total defense. What kind of challenge is it going to be for these guys?
First of all, a ton of man coverage on the back end. So for these Eagles skill players, they've got to find ways to be able to win one-on-one, and that comes down to scheme as well. So we'll see what the game plan looks like for this game. I'm really excited about what we'll see from this coaching staff with a week of rest. But also a lot of pressure up front. They're very, very multiple with their blitz package. We'll talk about that as well coming up. The Eagles are going to have to find a way to keep Carson Wentz upright in this game. They're third in the league in sacks.
All right, a lot to watch in this one, of course, and we are going to send it back over to Lincoln Financial Field. Eagles insider Dave Spadaro with his storyline to watch and key to the game. Dave, what you got for us?
Well, I think it's fairly obvious what the storylines are here because we've been talking about it all week. And here's what I'm going to say. The Eagles, the formula, the recipe that they have really banked on is to control the line of scrimmage, which makes sense because this offensive line now with Jason Peters back and Andre Dillard showing that he's really good is the strength of this offense. So today, against the number one ranked defense in the NFL, one that takes the football away, how do you control the line of scrimmage, run the football, and keep the Patriots honest down the field? So here's the thing. Win the line of scrimmage. Give the ball to Miles Sanders a lot. Get Boston Scott into the open field. Amazingly, Jay Ajayi signed on Friday. I spoke to him after he signed. He said he's like a bicycle. And when he gets back on, he's ready to go, and he's going to pedal really fast. So that all sounds really good. So that's the storyline for the Eagles offensively. Run the football. Control the line of scrimmage. Keep it away from Tom Brady. That's what the Ravens did so well 2 weeks ago. Now, the Ravens did it with a mobile quarterback, so you might see Carson Wentz a little bit more mobile than usual. So that is my storyline. My key to the game comes down to the very basics. How about the takeaways, the giveaways? The Patriots are dominant. The Eagles, in their in their 5 victories, just 2 giveaways. In their 4 losses, 12 giveaways. Seems very simple, right? Run the ball, control it, secure it, and beat the Patriots and shock the world. Back to you guys at the NovaCare Complex.
Great stuff, as always, there from Dave. And, of course, Doug Peterson mentioning that earlier this week as well, the takeaways, that when they take care of the ball, they seem to win, and when they don't, they don't. And we know this Patriots defense specializes in takeaways. Yep. 27 so far this season, 6 defensive scores. It's going to be a really big challenge for this Eagles offense. No question. And for me, my big key to the game is really going to be, with this Eagles defense, we hear all the time, every year the Patriots are in the Super Bowl. The analysts all say, you got to pressure Tom Brady, not off the edge, but right in his face, because he's not a guy that can run outside the pocket. So think back to Super Bowl 52, Brandon Graham, sack fumble, Fletcher Cox winning inside. Well, you're going to need the Eagles defense to kind of get creative. We've seen this over the last couple of weeks with them getting creative with stunts and twists and the front. You've got 3 guys, Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox all to one side. You move Nate Gary up near the line of scrimmage. You move Malcolm Jenkins up near the line of scrimmage. That's really important here because now if you're going to have if you're the Patriots, you're sliding your protection towards that heavy side. Now if you're the Eagles, you're going to take Derek Barnett, number 96. You're going to slant him inside, loop him from the outside in right into the face of Tom Brady. Just a simple 3-man stunt. So now, if you're the Patriots, you've got no help inside. Why? Because the Eagles have moved Nate Gary up near the line of scrimmage. That guard can't help the center. The running back can't help the center either. He's worried about Malcolm Jenkins. So now, Derek Barnett, he can loop inside. We saw this a couple of times the last time the Eagles took the field against the Chicago Bears. We've seen it throughout the course of the season as well. The Eagles have done a really good job of being creative with all of their stunts and different pressure packages against Tom Brady. You need to pressure him in his face. These stunts are a great example of how the Eagles could do just that in this game. All right, so I'm going to say that the Eagles, my key to the game, the Eagles on offense need to be both balanced and creative, facing a Patriots defense that is statistically the best in the league. What did the Ravens do against them? They kept the ball away from Tom Brady, but they were also able to run the ball. In order to have the Patriots respect the run for the Eagles, though, they're going to have to be balanced and creative. Who's more creative than Doug Peterson? So you're going to need to see the receivers step up to keep them honest. The tight ends as well. I think Dallas Goedert could be a really interesting matchup here as well.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert obviously is going to be a big part of this matchup. If they're going to try and double team Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert's got to be able to step up. And you know what? Keep an eye out for Boston Scott as well, Amy, because, you know, we've seen Miles Sanders and all the things that he can do in the passing game. If Jordan Howard is out of this game, which we know that he is, Miles Sanders is going to be relied more between the tackles. Keep an eye out for Boston Scott out in space doing some of those Miles Sanders type things in this matchup.
All right, so I snuck in some of our players to watch just now, but let's hear from Merrill Reese and Mike Quick on their players to watch. Merrill, what you got for us?
Amy, it's gray and cold this afternoon here at the Link, but we are ready for a red-hot game between the Eagles and the Patriots. Mike, who is your object of focus this afternoon?
I have to focus on the quarterback, Carson Wentz, today. This is a day where your quarterback really has to come up big. He's going to get pressured a lot. He has to recognize where the blitzes are coming from and adjust accordingly. And he's going to be so important in running the football as well as passing the ball. Carson Wentz has to have a big day against the best quarterback in all of football.
Well, I'm going to look at number 55, Amy, because he is the guy who turned the game around on February 4th, 2018 in Minnesota when he pried the ball loose. And Derek Barnett recovered it, and everything changed from that point on. So once again, Brandon Graham is my guy, and he's having a red-hot season. Back to you, Amy.
All right, thanks, guys. I hope you're staying nice and warm over there. We've got November football going on. And when we come back, Mike Quick is going one-on-one with Eagles tackle Lane Johnson. It's a fantastic interview with one of the most entertaining Eagles on this team. You're not going to want to miss that. Stay with us.